Hello, my name is Vicki LaRoe with Create and Adorn. Thank you for selecting this video. On this channel, we are all about showing you how to make fabulous, modern, fashion-forward jewelry for yourself at home. Each week, I share new designs, tips, techniques, ideas from my multiple decades in the jewelry making industry. So if that sounds like your jam, I hope you'll consider subscribing. If we are just meeting, again, my name is Vicki LaRoe. I owned a large, beautiful bead store in Tacoma, Washington for over 25 years that we just sold very high quality product and did very modern, fashion forward classes, taking projects out of the Sundance catalogs or getting ideas and inspiration from those places and teaching classes that were based on really modern trends. So in 2019, I launched createandadorn.com to be able to offer that same high quality product online and take our popular classes and make them into kits for people to order, and also into online video classes so that people could take our classes via video from anywhere in the world, really. So it's been really fun. And so each week I put out a new video every weekend that has at least a couple of new designs and maybe some new product that we just got in, and share a couple techniques and ideas. But then each project, I also have a full video tutorial for each one that is actually in a members area. And I will put a link in the description below where you can go to our website and find out more about how you can become a member. And I can talk a little bit more about it later. But this week, I'm excited to share a couple new designs with you. Since spring is just about to burst out, I've got a little sunshine today in Washington. It is March, in the middle of March of 2020. And so spring is just around the corner. And so I thought better bust out the flowers. I'm a big, big floral girl. Love it. So I have an earring and a necklace kind of bracelet combo that I'll show. Let's start with the earring. I normally don't wear the project so I can show it to you, but sometimes I like to so that people can see what it looks like on. Because it's one thing to look at it on a stand or, in a picture. It's another thing to see it on somebody. And I just really love these little flowers. So let me do a close-up on her. I might use and another thing is I try not to do any editing, which could be very obvious. But I just want you to see. And I'm going to get my face out of here so the camera focuses on her. But it's just a darling little earring and pretty simple really to do. Just needs a little wire work skill and you are good to go. This mirror chain, I call it a little, that's not its like formal name, but I call it a floating mirror that I've used in there. I just love it. And they're so lightweight. So it's one of those earrings that I think makes a big impact. It's good size. They make a big fashion statement, but they're very light. And unlike maybe cheap jewelry at Target or H&M or something, it's higher quality materials, but also lightweight and very fashion forward. So this is a fun little kit that's available now, $16.50. I think on our website, $17.50. You can use a discount code that's in the description. It's BeadBabe10, and that gets you 10% off your order. But it's a fun little earring, and I'm just looking at it in the monitor. I just love it. Really pretty simple. It does not need much technique or skill to really get such a nice impact. They're very, very pretty. My next project I'm showing you here is a necklace, and this is one of the rare projects that can be worn as a necklace or a bracelet. And I'm gonna do the same thing where I'm gonna get my face out of here and scoot it up close so you can kind of see. That way the camera will focus on it. And I may put it again in that gray background. But these little tulip cones I got in a couple of weeks ago. And so traditionally, right, when we use a cone, we use it for the back of a necklace, or in this case, with our delicate drapes, we used it here. But this is the traditional way a cone is used, right, for the ends of multi-strands. And this is that beautiful mirror chain, right? Again, just love it. But that's typically the way we use our cone. These are just so pretty that in this case and the case of the new one, I want them to be in front so you can see them. They're just so pretty. So in this necklace, let me use maybe the gray. Just thought it was this is our Buds in Bloom, I think is what I've called her. And it's using the tulips and the caps and some big caps, and then a cluster of freshwater pearls and 4mm crystals all dangling on there. And it's on our textured oval link chain. And so these links open, which is great because you can, then move them around. And to get this little pendant, there's actually a weave or connection here to get them to hang this way. They were a little askew, and to get your clusters to stay like that. If you didn't want to wear it as a necklace, you could definitely wrap it around and wear it as a bracelet, and it makes it just a beautiful focal piece. And again, in these pieces, when I design them, I don't want them just to look good on a stand or on you if you don't move. I want it to look good all the time, no matter how you wear it, right? So this is it's a beautiful little fun dangle. So what I would do with this piece is decide how you're going to wear it most of the time. Because if you're going to wear it as a bracelet, you can shorten it. I would shorten it a little bit, right? Because I just doubled this. Which you can easily do because the link's open. Or if you're going to wear it as a necklace, of course, we just leave it long. But depending on however you're going to wear it the most, then I would leave it that length. And this kit is $26.50, and it's 18 inches of chain. If you wanted this longer, this is about 18 inches. Also, this is about 20 inches. But if you wanted this longer, it's very easy to add another extension on the back, or lengthen it again, because these links open, and just add more chain to it. Or I sell this chain by the foot. You could just purchase another foot of it. This is one of those pendants that would actually look good long or short. Sometimes pendants and other pieces are better shorter. This Delicate Drapes kit project, which is still available, I think there's a few left online, definitely only good short. Would not work longer, right? If we tried to make it longer, you start losing that the beautiful impact of the multiple chains. But this would be beautiful longer, would work just perfectly. So one thing I want to point out, or one thing I want to talk about with the technique a little bit, is that the clusters on here, I love clusters because they kind of can fill in spaces for you. So I've linked the chains together so that my little cones, hang just right. And then I filled it all in with these links, or with the cluster, sorry. And each one's on an individual head pin. And that's what I kind of want to talk about a little bit today as far as technique. Now, on these weekly videos, I don't go very deeply into too much technique. That's reserved for our other videos, for our tutorial videos. And also in all these projects, it's assuming that you know wire work or pearl knotting or whatever. And if you don't, we have separate tutorials for those skills, just to focus on learning wire work or just learning pearl knotting or so on. But once you've learned them, then they're great, skills to have. And those, I use kind of the same techniques over and over again. So for this pendant, right? So all those little dangles are all 4mm crystals or pearls on individual head pins. So these all use a basic loop, not a wrapped loop. And I could have maybe grabbed some to show some difference, but I'm going to just do it here really quick instead. This is a ball head pin. It's got a little ball on the bottom. I love them because they add that little bit of, design. But if you don't have them and you just have basic head pins, you can just easily add a 2mm round bead to a regular head pin. And now you have a ball head pin. Right? So either way, because ball head pins tend to be a little more pricey. So either way works. And so especially if you already have a bunch of regular head pins, the little 2mm rounds, you just add them. Anyway, so the type of loop that you do, whether it's going to be just a basic loop or one that's a loop and a wrap on the neck, they work differently, right? This one is done in all basic loops, meaning just one that's open, not wrapped, because I need to be able to hook these on in different places. I need to be able to adjust it. So by dangling them on there, I might put it one place and I might change it and add it, move another one. I need to be able to open them and move them around as much as possible. So I can't have a wrapped loop because I can't open it once it's wrapped. The type of loop you do is always determined by the material you're working with. So if I am working with a freshwater pearl, a natural gemstone, those all have small holes. They're drilled very tiny. For the jewelry industry, drills them very, very tiny. So when you're using a natural material like that, they needs to go on a thinner head pin, a thinner gauged head pin, because the hole is smaller. When you use a thinner gauge, right, so we'll just do it this way. Here's two pearls. This big gray one is a glass pearl, so it has a larger hole. It can go in a thicker head pin. This little white one is a freshwater pearl, and it has to go in a thinner gauge head pin because the hole's smaller. Here's just a quick little thing. In a natural pearl or gemstone, they drill them right after the stone is either cut or the pearl is made in the mollusk. Then they drill them afterwards. And so they need to drill just the smallest possible hole. Sometimes it's so the stone won't crack, but generally it's because they're drilling through a material, and it's in order to keep it even all the way through, which sometimes is not in a natural gemstone. They just need it to be as small as possible so it's easy and fast as possible. In a glass bead, glass is made in a mold around the dowel. The dowel's already in there. The glass is liquid or whatever they're making, and there's a mold and it's shut, and then when it's cooled, the dowel's pulled out and there's the hole. So the hole's larger because with a larger hole it uses less material. Anyway, but there's your little lesson on why holes are that size. That's what determines the gauge of the head pin. The gauge of the head pin determines the type of loop you'll make. Mostly. If I'm using a smaller one, I've had the freshwater pearl, and I'm using a smaller gauge, now I almost have to do a wrapped one because the wire's so thin that it's too weak. If I do a basic loop, it could just pull right out. So I'm going to do, I meant to just have it shown, have it done and show you, but that's okay. In a wrapped loop, sorry, I'm going to talk, right, you've got to hook it onto something. You can see it actually this way. You've got to hook it onto something at this point, right, before we wrap the neck. But let's just say we weren't going to. We're just going to say it's a drop earring on an ear wire. Then you wouldn't have to do it. But because the wire is so thin in that 24 gauge, because the hole is so small, it's the only head pin that's going to fit. You have to do this type of loop. I'm going to just try to, right? As almost better to see it this way. But it's got a wrap on it. And I know it's moving. Stop moving. It's got a little wrap on there. In a basic loop, single loop, doesn't need that. You can use a thicker gauge head pin and just make a basic loop. And when I do that, I'm cutting the wire. The length of wire I'm leaving is the size of my loop. If you can envision whatever length this piece of wire is that I'm leaving, if you can envision it round, that's how long you're going to leave it. And always better to make longer than shorter, because you can always cut it shorter. And again, don't go very much into techniques in these videos because it takes a little bit longer. But once I've got that right, I bend it back and I make my loop. And people do them a lot of different ways. As long as you get a round loop in the end, that's really all that matters, right? But we've got a little round basic loop, no neck on it. This is the type of loop that's used on that pendant so that I can open and close this, right? I need to be able to open it to the side to hook it on something and close it. I can open and close it. Let me see how close I get to the camera. But of course, my students already know this. Open, close. Oh, just like a door, right? I never stick the plier back in and open. I never break the loop. It's got to be forward, back. And not too much. You can, eventually weaken the wire. But, right, just forward, slip it on, and back in place with your chain nose. 16 minutes. So normally I want these videos not to be longer than about 15 minutes. So I'm going to cut out. But that generally determines, so the materials generally determine the gauge of head pin you have to use, which will then determine what kind of loop you're going to do. Most of the time. You can definitely do a wire wrap loop with a thicker head pin. You can, if you just like the look of that. You just don't have to. This loop stays in place without the neck on it. The loop in the thinner gauge with the neck, this thinner wire, it could pull right out right easily if it was just turned without that neck. If you were just putting it on like an ear wire, again, this is one of my favorite little ear wires, so you just open the front of that to the side, and I can close that loop and just put it on the bottom and close her up, and I've got a little dangle there. So, but even on this one where I do use freshwater pearls in here, I've got a special little technique I'm using to do a basic loop, because I still want to be able to move them around if I need to. Even though this is small and dainty and full of clusters, I did not use that little wrap loop because it would make the cluster pieces too long to have that extra neck on there, and it would be more difficult, and you wouldn't be able to move them around. So it's a beautiful little kit. I really love it and love the techniques I used playing around with it. So there's your new designs for this week. What was I going to mention? Oh, the live stream Sophie and I are doing. So the necklace I have on is our Pearly Girl necklace. My daughter and Sophia and I are doing our next live stream on Saturday, March 28th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. If you want to join us, it'll be here on YouTube. But if you want to join us for the project, this is the necklace we're doing, our Pearly Girl necklace. And I think there's still a few left, as long as you order before this coming Friday, March 20th, because I'll ship everything actually that Monday. That way you'll be able to get it before our live stream. And then even if you can't catch the live stream, it posts immediately on YouTube afterwards, so you can rewatch it as much as you need to. And if you need help with those wire wrap loops, we're going to do a lot of them here. So I'm excited to kind of share all this. And I had a great question. Someone asked me if they had to use the gunmetal links. And no, you can just tell me in the order notes if you want all silver. I don't care. Either way is fine. I think it's pretty with the gunmetal because it picks up the antiqued silver on the caps. So that ties it all together. But anyway, you want to do it, it's fine. This is 20 inches. If you want to wear it longer, it'd be gorgeous longer. Also beautiful, doubled as a bracelet. Lots of options. But if you want to wear it longer, you just could order 2 kits and make a longer one. That works as well. And the last thing I'm just going to mention again quickly is our membership, because that, especially if you need these tutorials and more in-depth techniques, and maybe especially now, this is March of 2020, and a lot of us are home right now. It's a very interesting time. And so our country is quarantined a little bit right now. So crazy. But our membership is $15 a month, and each week when I do these projects, right, I make a instruction sheet. This has step-by-step instructions for every project that we're doing that's available as a kit. Our members get these for free every week in their inbox. And I make a video tutorial showing how to make each project. That's available in a private members area as well. So basically, our members get the equivalent of a class, the instructions, and the video tutorial. Plus, they get increased discounts on the things they order if you order things from the website. But it's basically the equivalent of classes we used to charge about $35 for every week for $15 a month. So it's a very, very, very good value, and you can watch them as much as you want. So it's a great deal. The link is in the description below. You get a month free when you join. It's $30 for the first 90 days, and that gives you plenty of time to kind of try it out and see if you like it. And that is it for today, my dears. I hope that you will join us for the live stream. Again, the live stream, you don't have to be a member for it. So it's, I think once a month we'll do these classes that'll be free to the public. Once a month you won't have to be a member. The one class you can actually join us for free and even do the project with us and then ask us questions in real time. So we just did it. We've only did it once so far, but it was super fun. So I hope you subscribe to the channel. Remember to give it a like. I'm trying to remember all the things I never ask when I make these videos. If you'll like it, leave a comment if you want. That'd be great. I have over 100 subscribers now on this channel that I didn't have the last video I made, so I'm very excited at how it's growing. Thank you so much for joining me today. These kits are available online now, and of course, depending on when you're watching this, all kits have very limited availability, and so it's very possible, if you're watching this later, that I don't have the actual kits available for purchase. However, the instructional video lives on the member site, and so if you join, you can always find out how to make it, and the instruction sheets always tell you all the materials we use, and you might have these materials at home already, or I sell a lot of them all individually. You can order the tulips individually, the chain by the foot, the head pins by themselves, so any way you want to do it, we're trying to make it as easy for you as possible to make gorgeous jewelry with us. Thank you again. Have a wonderful, glorious day. Go out there and sparkle brightly like the star that you are.